Happy full moon, Leo eclipse, Leo rising. This is your time to shine. And this is Nicole Marie, your astrologer and coach, working with the powers of the moon to transform your life. And this is a special little treat for you, Leo, to look at where this full moon is impacting your life and how to use this energy to transform your career. So as you know, I love working with the power of the moon, and I write moon scopes that look at the moon cycles for the week. I give life coaching skills, homework, and rituals to really help you look at how to focus your energy and work with the cosmos, quite literally. So this full moon for you, my dear, is in your first house. So since you're a Leo rising, remember to always look at the rising sign for these horoscopes, not your sun sign, because the rising sign is where most horoscopes are actually accessed. So the first house, the self, the body, the identity. Now you started the week in your 10th house, so you were very much like in your element, you're in your power, looking at how do you want to embody your power, actually. 10th house is very much about power, Capricorn, your career, being out in the world. So looking and kind of building up this week of how are you transforming your environment. So the self so this full moon really wants you to kind of focus on self-development, looking at your conscious versus subconscious mind. And so this is a time to kind of experience a sense of wholeness. I want you to feel grateful for the things that you've accomplished so far in your life. Often the Leo activates the artist archetype within us, and within that we activate the creative self and the inner critic. And since Leo, you are also such an artist of life that really you are the actor upon the stage of life. So you looking at where are you criticizing yourself, where is this kind of shadow aspect of who you are versus your creative self, and kind of dancing between the two. So the creative self is always like connected and flowing and intuitive, while the critic stands in the corner over your shoulder criticizing every little thing you do. Why does the critic criticize? It's because he's jealous of, or wants perfection, or was never told it was good enough. And basically it's jealous of the creative self of actually being creative. So this is a chance for you to talk to your critic self, like, yo, look, I'm doing it, I'm writing, or I'm painting, I'm doing this. No, I'm not going to compare myself to everybody else, critic. No, I'm not going to strive for perfection, critic. And I'm listening to my creativity and where it wants to go. So it's really important to kind of like put them in separate places of the room, allow them to talk to you. It's like psychodrama. Life is a drama, so why not play the main character, which is you? So another beautiful thing to do during this full moon is to write a list of 10 things that you are grateful for in your life, and write down 5 supportive people in your life. I think it's really important to look at, we do, as a self-sustaining person, create our goals, we create how we want to achieve them, we go out and do them. Yet it's not only you. And we create products, ideas, concepts for other people. We work with other people, designers, all sorts of things to make the creation possible. And, obviously we have family and loved ones that kind of support us through our process of where we kind of have those shadow points of self-doubt, lack of confidence, and not trusting in our skills. So looking at who's supporting you in your life is a really important reflection to look at, wow, who is really there for me? And how can I be, a better person in this relationship? And how can I just thank them for being there for me? And also just acknowledging what you have done. So being grateful for what is already accomplished. This full moon is about a completion. It's about a kind of release of an old cycle and wants to start a new cycle, but not yet, because there's needs a time for forgiveness, a time for reflection, a time to empower and to transform kind of old aspects. Now, a lot of moon ritual work is really working with consciousness, working with frequency and our mind and every other thing that exists within it, but mostly focusing on our neurolinguistic programming. So we can look, the moon represents the subconscious mind, the sun, the conscious mind. And so when we are at these, full moon, they're in right alignment. The moon is literally facing the exact sun. So they get to see each other. So this means that your subconscious is illuminated. You see your patterns. Again, this is where you do your shadow work, where you see your shadow. And often we see the shadow in others around us. So we see, our beliefs and how then it's embodied in someone else. And you're like, whoa, that's what that looks like? Maybe I shouldn't believe that, or maybe I should transform that. So these are all profound times for doing your soul lessons, because that's how we evolve. So this is a profound time, Leo. And you want to grow, you want to evolve. That's why we're here. We're not here to keep doing the same patterns that's there. A lot of us, well, every single one of us has DNA cellular memory to our ancestry. What does that mean? It means that we still, in some part of our subconscious mind, believe that we're cave dwellers, that there is some horrible thing outside in the unknown world that's hunting us. Well, psychologically it can feel like that out in this chaotic, crazy world. Reality, no, we have homes, we have running water, and we're looking from so much of our consciousness is based off of trying to survive, when really we're trying to get to a place of thriving. So the more that you work with your consciousness and, these belief systems, the greater life that you can actually open up to. And the one that I propose, and I think a lot of people are waking up to this as well, is bringing in the imaginational realm. Our imagination, actually, in our present time and space, when we kind of open up our awareness, we are more empowered to do what we need to do. So this tarot reading that I'm about to do for you is for the next lunar cycle from today, the full moon, until the new moon in Aquarius. So yes, I'm choosing the cards live. This first card is the overall energy for this cycle. Then I pull the conflict card, and then the solution, which is usually discovered around that new moon in Aquarius. Oh my goodness, my dears. What a journey. Oh my goodness. Wow. So yes, this is my natural, genuine surprise of this incredible reading. So the overall energy for these next couple weeks ahead, you have the moon card. So we just talked about the moon. We talked about how the subconscious mind works, how it is connected to our creativity, and it's connected to these deep. This is where we go on the hunt for our treasure. So you're kind of feeling lost or confused, or kind of diving into this unknown aspect of yourself. And this is often the feminine aspect, because the moon represents the power of the feminine. And this is looking at, where do you deny your creativity? Where do you suppress your intuition? Where are you using too much intellect versus, your imaginational realm? The moon shows you're going on a dark night of the soul, so you don't know exactly the path. And this is profound. This is part of the bigger vision, is that, we often don't know, even though we have, like, someone can have this great divine plan or this practical plan of how we go from one place to another, but we're slowly learning that life is a cycle and actually quite a spiral, that we kind of go in and out of these like vortexing experiences where, feels like we have it all together, and then we go out and everything falls apart, and it feels like we step, we move one step forward and then two steps back. This is the dance of life. And the more that we're trying to live like linear creatures, and we're just not, specifically women, because women hormonally, we live in a cycle. Our hormones fluctuate between and for our menses cycle. Men, however, do have linear, or this kind of just single line of hormones. So they don't really have a lot of spikes. Obviously, if they're stressed or things like this, then it does occur. So learning to embody the cycles during this season. And again, this is why I'm doing the moon scope, forecasts for everyone, for every single sign, so that you know where to focus your energy. Where is it that you can have, a lot of peak energy for creativity? Where do you just go and, I need to retreat, I need to meditate, I need to do things that are more like at home? When do I need to be out in the world? When can I just go hang out with friends? And it helps you just know that you're just part of this endless cycle of constant change and death and rebirth. And what a life, what a performance. So you're kind of learning and discovering and taking a leap of faith, dear ones. Now the conflict is Priestess of Discs. So during time of great transformation, we tend to get out of the body. We kind of go, so when you're in a trauma state, or like a state of stress, or again, when you go into the mental mind trying to plan things, you actually kind of are out of your body. It's like an outer body experience. And so then once you come back from this like journey of like exploring your psychic realm, or doing a lot of work, and then realizing, oh my God, my body feels exhausted. This is the time where you're like, okay, I actually needed to channel that energy through my body. So we're kind of learning how to change our operating system, because for so long, since we've kind of, for these past centuries or time frame, we've been in this patriarchal. So we first originally came from a matriarchal, which followed the phases of the moon, right? Then man realized that he had literally, like the masculine realized that he had the capacity to actually create life, because they just always thought it was women that were creating life, and they kind of didn't have anything to do with it. But once the men figured out that their semen were the big cause for them having spawn, then this is kind of what made this huge change of us going into the patriarchal system. So, we're not trying to get back to matriarchal or patriarchal. We're trying to develop something different. So matriarchal, everything, they lived by the moon. The Hawaiians today still live by the moon phases. And now, for quite some time, we've been looking at the sun. And so now it's really combining both of our masculine and feminine qualities, being more of a, cyclical being that knows how to channel energy better. Because in this patriarchal, we're kind of only using our solar plexus to generate and put out energy. But where is the solar plexus attached to? Often we're just kind of going from our mental, from our, our crown chakra, and just channeling it between just the upper world. And this is why we experience so much burnout, because we're actually not generating the energy from the natural source, which is Earth. When we're grounded, when we're connected to life, this is how we actually do our work. This is how we actually get energy, is by being more connected to Earth. But wow, Earth is in so much pain. So when we do that, And that means that we have to deal with all their pain. So a lot of people aren't doing that. So this is why I'm saying Priestess of Disc can be difficult to do when you've forgotten that earth energy is actually the most important source that we all can generate from. And I'm literally talking about visualizing like red earth, red energy from the very core of Mother Earth, generating all up through your body. Like just imagine red energy going up through your legs, up through your belly, up into your crown. And just feel and imagine red energy flowing in and out, putting your feet on the ground. Getting grounded is one of the most important practices of transformation journeys, of learning how to do feminine power versus masculine power. So I know there's a lot of information here, but I just want to kind of awaken this in you during this full moon time is, how do you operate your power? How do you create your artistic endeavors? Are you looking outside in the world and seeing how you can replicate? Or are you finding something so deep, so core within you that you generate? So the solution, and when you come to this new moon in Aquarius, you're going to experience the Hanged One. And that's another major arcana, and it's intense and it's powerful, and it shows, a surrender to the divine, a surrender to the bigger plan, to the divine plan, changing your perspective completely. And so the story of the Hanged One is that Odin goes and hangs upside down for 9 nights on the tree of life. In Norse mythology, it's called Yggdrasil, the world tree, where all life comes from this tree, all knowledge, all wisdom, all stories. And he just surrenders there, and hung like with a snake wrapped around his foot. There's many versions, but the whole point is on the 9th day, he looked down at the ground in front of him, and it revealed the Ruin language. So the ruins, which is another oracle. So he discovered a whole new symbolic language, a telling of the soul's journey, if you will. So by changing your perspective and showing unconditional love for yourself and others can truly transform your experience. So my dear, you're on a quest. You are the hero of your own story, and you need to look at what are your obstacles. What is that shadow part of you? And know that any obstacle, any rejection, any pain is just showing you how strong you are. And I know there are painful experiences out in the world, and I'm not trying to bring it down by any means. I just want you to know that whatever is going on in your life is asking you to be responsible for your power, responsible for your creative gifts, and responsible for your soul purpose. You came here for a reason. So now go and live it. My dears, happy full moon to you. I wish many blessings on this next 2-week journey before the new moon in Aquarius. And again, please read the moon scopes to check out how the weekly moon cycles go through your chart or through your sign. And again, rising sign. But I also have fabulous moon working coaching sessions. So this is where you can join me every month, where you can learn more about how each new moon and full moon is working. And we create ritual. Ritual is now this new fantastic medically proven to help transform mental illness. And I don't want to say illness, but just like neurolinguistic programming. It's how we develop our culture. It's how we develop tradition and a lot of things that we've missed for so long. And so kind of reweaving these ancient tools with our modern day is a new way. So also I do transformation coach sessions if there's something really big going on in your life and you need some support. So my biggest thing to you is always know thyself I often know thyself by knowing my astrology and where it is currently in the stars. And knowing your story and knowing the lens in which you perceive life, which is knowing your moon. So, dear ones, if you have any questions, you can email me at innerdoorways@gmail.com or check out my website at www.inner-doorways.com. Until then, blessed, blessed, blessed be.